search, maps, Gmail, Chrome, Android, YouTube, advertising, cloud computing, navigation, translation, video, AI research. Then Larry Page and Sergey Brin started building something different at Stanford University. Their idea sounds obvious today, but at the time, it changed everything. Instead of simply counting keywords on websites, Google analyzed links between pages. If many important websites linked to another page, Google treated that page as more trustworthy and valuable. This became PageRank, and suddenly, search results felt dramatically better, cleaner, faster, more useful. People who used Google early often describe the experience almost emotionally. The internet suddenly felt navigable. Information felt accessible instead of buried under chaos. Early Google offices reflected this engineering obsession completely. Employees focused intensely on solving technical problems at massive scale. The famous minimalist homepage wasn't designed mainly for aesthetics. It loaded quickly because internet speeds were still slow for many users. Even tiny improvements mattered. Google's culture in those years revolved around a powerful belief: organize the world's information. That mission sounded almost academic at first, noble even. But quietly, another realization started forming inside the company. Search intent could become one of the most profitable forms of advertising ever invented. This is where Google transformed from a brilliant search engine into an economic empire. Before Google, most internet advertising looked crude and distracting. Banner ads flashed everywhere. Companies paid mainly for visibility. But Google introduced something psychologically revolutionary through AdWords, ads connected directly to human intent. If someone searched running shoes, they were probably interested in buying running shoes right now. That moment became insanely valuable economically. Advertisers no longer paid for random attention. They paid for probable desire, and the scale became enormous. Billions of searches every day. Tiny percentages of users clicking ads. Small amounts of money multiplied across gigantic behavior patterns. By the late 2000s, Google wasn't simply a technology company anymore. It had become the toll booth of the internet itself. Entire industries reshaped themselves around Google search. SEO exploded into a global obsession. Companies analyzed algorithms obsessively. Websites stretched articles artificially to rank higher. Publishers learned how headlines influence clicks. Content farms appeared everywhere. An entire economy emerged around satisfying Google's ranking systems, and Google kept expanding. Gmail transformed email. Google Maps quietly changed human navigation forever. Chrome became the dominant browser. Android spread across billions of phones worldwide. YouTube, which Google acquired in 2006 for $1.65 billion, eventually became the second-largest search engine on Earth itself. By the 2010s, Google controlled enormous portions of how humans interacted with information online. The company looked almost untouchable, but something strange was happening inside Google long before ChatGPT exploded publicly. Some of the engineers building the future of AI were already there. In 2017, Google researchers published a paper called "Attention is All You Need." At first glance, the title sounded almost academic and harmless. In reality, that paper became one of the foundational breakthroughs behind modern AI language systems. Transformers changed everything, including ChatGPT itself. One of the greatest ironies in modern technology is that Google helped invent the architecture powering the very systems now threatening Google search. But inside Google, AI development moved cautiously. sometimes frustratingly cautiously. The company had enormous resources and brilliant researchers, but also massive institutional pressure. Because Google had something OpenAI did not, an empire to protect. OpenAI could move aggressively because it had little to lose. Google faced a terrifying contradiction. What if conversational AI damaged the search business itself? What if AI answers reduced clicks? What if users stopped visiting websites entirely? What if publishers collapsed? What if ads became less visible? The deeper Google researched AI, the more dangerous the implications started looking for Google's own business model. Internal tensions grew around ethics, hallucinations, misinformation, reputational risk, and product responsibility. Google researchers sometimes felt frustrated watching the company move slower than smaller AI competitors. Meanwhile, another company quietly positioned itself for a comeback almost nobody expected: Microsoft. For years, Bing had existed like an internet punchline. Google dominated search so completely that most people barely thought about alternatives. Bing's market share remained tiny compared to Google's. But Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella understood something important. AI could reset user habits. And if user habits reset, maybe Google's dominance suddenly becomes vulnerable. Microsoft invested billions into OpenAI. Then ChatGPT launched publicly in late 2022, and the internet changed almost overnight. The speed shocked even experienced tech executives. ChatGPT reached 1 million users in just 5 days. For comparison, Netflix took years to reach that scale. Facebook took months. Even inside Silicon Valley, growth like that felt unusual. Servers struggled under traffic. OpenAI employees reportedly worked under intense pressure trying to keep systems functioning as global attention exploded. Sam Altman transformed almost instantly from relatively niche tech executive into one of the most recognized figures in Silicon Valley. Journalists flooded social media with screenshots. YouTubers tested impossible prompts. TikTok creators compared ChatGPT to sci-fi movies. Teachers entered classrooms, where students suddenly had access to machines capable of writing essays, summarizing books, solving homework, generating code, and explaining concepts conversationally. Some teachers panicked immediately. Others tried banning AI tools completely. Universities struggled to redesign assignments fast enough. Reddit exploded with debates about cheating, creativity, and the future of work. Stack Overflow users became furious as AI-generated answers flooded programming discussions. Quora suddenly looked outdated. Startups panic-refreshed analytics dashboards, wondering whether traffic patterns were about to collapse. And inside Google, emergency meetings accelerated quickly. Multiple reports later described internal, code-red responses. Founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin reportedly became more involved again. Teams working on conversational AI faced enormous pressure to release products publicly. But moving quickly inside Google created another problem: fear. Google's reputation depended heavily on trust and reliability. Search results didn't need to sound human emotionally, they simply needed to point users toward information. Conversational AI was different. AI could hallucinate facts confidently, make strange mistakes, produce misinformation smoothly. OpenAI could survive some chaos because users treated ChatGPT partly like an experiment. Google could not afford massive public embarrassment easily. Then came Bard. Google rushed to respond publicly against growing pressure from investors, media, and Microsoft. During one public demo, Bard answered a question incorrectly about the James Webb Space Telescope. The mistake spread instantly online. Google's stock reportedly lost around $100 billion in market value afterward. Internally, some employees criticized leadership for rushing products before they felt ready. And psychologically, something even more damaging happened. For the first time in years, Google looked reactive instead of dominant. Meanwhile, Microsoft integrated OpenAI technology into Bing aggressively. Suddenly, Bing stopped feeling like the failed search engine and started feeling culturally interesting. Even if Bing still remained far behind Google in overall usage, the emotional narrative changed, and narratives matter enormously in technology. Startup founders rewrote pitch decks overnight to include AI. Venture capital shifted aggressively toward AI startups. Investors demanded AI strategies from almost every company. SEO agencies entered panic mode because their entire industry depended on traditional search behavior. Publishers became terrified that AI summaries might reduce website traffic dramatically. Some media executives quietly realized something horrifying. Google Search had already weakened publishers for years through algorithm changes and ad dominance. Now, AI might remove the click itself entirely. Younger users accelerated the behavioral shift even faster. TikTok had already started changing search habits before ChatGPT appeared. Many Gen Z users increasingly searched restaurants, travel advice, tutorials, and product recommendations directly through TikTok instead of Google. Why? Because TikTok felt emotionally faster and more human. Users preferred short videos from real people instead of scrolling through SEO-optimized websites overloaded with ads and affiliate links. ChatGPT fit perfectly into this broader psychological shift. Younger audiences increasingly valued direct answers over exploration, convenience over navigation, frictionless interaction over manual research. And this trend threatened Google at the deepest possible level, because Google Search trained humanity to navigate information manually. AI might train humans to stop navigating entirely. That distinction is enormous. For 20 years, the internet economy depended on humans clicking outward into the web itself. AI changes the flow completely. Ask AI. Receive answer. Move on. No clicking, no browsing, no discovering websites accidentally, no ad impressions across multiple pages, no endless exploration loops, just information delivered instantly. This is why Google's fear runs deeper than simple competition. The company understands that conversational AI threatens the architecture of the open web itself, and Google faces a terrifying business paradox. If Google aggressively pushes AI answers inside search, it risks damaging the click-based ecosystem that made Google rich originally. But if Google moves too slowly, users may slowly migrate toward AI-first products elsewhere. The company is trapped between protecting the old internet and surviving the new one. Sundar Pichai suddenly found himself leading one of the most difficult transitions in modern technology history, because Google's size became both strength and weakness simultaneously. The company still possessed incredible AI talent, infrastructure, data centers, computing power, and engineering resources. But giant empires move slowly. Bureaucracy expands. Risk tolerance decreases. Every major decision affects billions of users and gigantic revenue streams. Smaller companies can experiment recklessly. Google cannot. Inside the company, tensions reportedly intensified between product urgency and safety concerns. Some engineers feared Google was moving too slowly. Others feared rushing AI products into global scale irresponsibly. Ethics teams debated misinformation risks. Researchers worried about hallucinations. Business leaders worried about market perception. Investors worried about competition. And outside Google, the internet itself started changing psychologically. People began speaking differently about information. Google it slowly started competing with Ask ChatGPT. That shift sounds subtle, but language changes often reveal deeper behavioral transitions already happening underneath society. YouTubers uploaded videos titled, "I stopped using Google." TikTok creators posted side-by-side comparisons where AI felt cleaner and faster than search results full of ads. Users complained Google search had become cluttered and frustrating. Too many sponsored links, too much SEO spam, too many websites optimized for algorithms instead of humans. Ironically, Google's own economic success helped create some of the dissatisfaction now fueling AI adoption. As search became more profitable, the web optimized itself around gaming Google's systems. Entire industries learned how to manipulate rankings psychologically. Users increasingly sensed that many websites existed mainly to capture traffic rather than provide value. ChatGPT bypassed much of that friction emotionally, and emotionally is the key word here. Humans rarely choose technology purely rationally. We choose what feels easier, faster, smoother, calmer, more emotionally satisfying. AI conversation feels emotionally lightweight compared to traditional search. That's why Google fears behavioral change more than technical competition. The real battle is not AI versus search. It's friction versus frictionlessness. And underneath this technological shift sits something even deeper, a transformation in how humans relate to knowledge itself. For decades, searching the internet meant exploring, clicking links, comparing sources, reading conflicting opinions, moving through the web manually. AI changes that dynamic fundamentally. Increasingly, humans may stop exploring information and start delegating information processing entirely to machines. That shift carries enormous consequences economically, psychologically, and culturally. If users stop visiting websites, publishers lose revenue, independent blogs disappear, smaller creators struggle, information centralizes differently, AI systems become intermediaries between humans and the web itself. Google understands this risk better than almost anyone because Google spent 25 years becoming humanity's gateway to information. And now AI threatens to become the new gateway instead. That possibility explains why Google reacted so aggressively with Gemini integration, AI summaries, AI assistants, and conversational search experiences. The company isn't simply chasing hype. It's defending the behavioral foundation of one of the largest economic systems in internet history. And the stakes extend far beyond Google alone. Millions of jobs indirectly depend on search-driven traffic. Entire digital industries formed around visibility inside Google's ecosystem. If conversational AI permanently changes human search habits, the ripple effects could reshape huge parts of the internet economy itself. Some publishers already report declining traffic as AI summaries answer questions directly without requiring clicks. SEO agencies increasingly wonder what optimization even means in an AI-first world. Creators debate whether websites themselves slowly become less important. Meanwhile, OpenAI, Microsoft, Anthropic, and Google race to shape the next interface layer between humans and information. And perhaps the strangest part of this entire story is that Google helped create the technology threatening its own empire. Transformers, large-scale AI research, deep learning breakthroughs, massive computing infrastructure. Google planted many of the seeds, but history often works this way. Giant companies frequently invent technologies that later destabilize the systems making them powerful. Kodak helped invent digital photography. Nokia helped build mobile infrastructure before smartphones changed everything. IBM helped shape personal computing before losing cultural dominance. Google may now face a similar historical moment, not because the company failed technically, but because human behavior itself started evolving faster than expected. Somewhere inside Google headquarters today, engineers still optimize search results, train massive AI models, analyze user behavior, and debate the future of information itself. But unlike previous eras, uncertainty now hangs over the entire industry because for the first time in decades, Google no longer fully controls how humans begin their curiosity journeys online. And maybe that's the deepest fear hidden underneath all the AI headlines. Not that Google will disappear tomorrow, but that humanity may slowly stop interacting with information the way Google trained us to for an entire generation.
Thank you so much for listening to this audiobook. I truly hope these words inspired you, motivated you, and gave you something valuable to take with you into everyday life. If you enjoyed this recording, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and explore my other inspiring audiobooks created to support your growth, mindset, and motivation. Your support means a lot and helps me create more content for listeners like you. See you in the next audiobook.